You're pedaling like a maniac on your Philodo Falcon, legs spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour, but you aren't actually helping the motor. What's the problem? The stock sprocket is simply too small. So today, we are installing a massive 58-tooth upgrade to fix the issue. You're probably wondering about the results. Well, let's stop talking, get to work, and see the difference for ourselves. Warning! I'm just a dumbass that likes to tinker with things and share my results. I am in no way responsible for any damages if you try what I share on my videos and you have issues. Tinker at your own risk. I'm in pedal assist 1. We're cruising at about 11 miles an hour and I can actually feel the resistance. I'm legitimately providing power to the bike right now, so let's bump it up. Now we're in pedal assist 2, hitting 18 miles an hour. I can tell you right now, this is the limit. I'm pedaling pretty fast and getting right to the top end of comfortable pedaling. Shifted to pedal assist 3, and boom, 24 miles an hour, and it is complete ghost pedaling. My legs are spinning, but I'm not catching the chain at all. The motor has totally outrun the gears. I just clicked it into pedal assist 4, but honestly, I'm not even going to bother with 5. It's useless. Basically, anything over pedal assist 2, or roughly 18 miles an hour, is total ghost pedaling. The tools needed today are 8mm Allen, preferably on a 3/8 socket, 15mm wrench and socket, 7/8 wrench and socket, 3/8 ratchet, and the Park Tools crankset removal tool. First things first, we need to remove the 8mm Allen screw. I highly recommend you use an Allen key designed for a 3/8 or 1/2 inch ratchet. As you start backing that bolt out, take your time and make sure it stays straight. These crank arms can be soft metal, and rounding out the bolt head will ruin your day. The pedal assembly has a square taper, so we're going to use the crank removal tool from Park Tool. I've used the cheap Amazon tools and they just don't hold up. I highly recommend purchasing only Park Tool. Link for purchase will be in the description. Now, before we install it, double check that the threads on the crank arm are clean. Any dirt or metal shavings can cause resistance and make the removal tool bind up. A quick wipe or blast of compressed air goes a long way. Thread the tool into the pedal assembly until it's snug. Don't force it. Let the threads grab naturally. Use a 7/8 wrench to tighten this up. When you tighten the tool, it's pushing on the bottom bracket assembly, pulling the crank off of the tapered end of the bottom bracket. You'll use a 15mm wrench to tighten the end of the tool. As you turn it, you'll feel a bit of resistance at first, which is totally normal. Just keep steady pressure and let the tool do the work. The crank will begin to slide outward as the tension builds. The end piece will come off, allowing for a 15mm socket to be used in case it's too difficult to use a wrench. Switching to a socket can give you better leverage, especially if the crank's been on there for a while. I'm going to use an impact with a 15mm socket. Do this at your own risk. Make sure to set it to tighten or to the right. And just like that, the old crankset comes right off. Now we can remove the tool from the old crankset before continuing with the install. To remove the tool from the crankset, you have to loosen the 15mm end that you just tightened to remove the crankset back up before putting a 7/8 wrench on the back to remove the tool. If you don't loosen the 15mm bolt first, you will have a hell of a time removing the tool set and risk damaging the tool or the crankset. Next, let's install the 58-tooth crank. You can see there is a significant difference in size between the two. Hopefully, this will help with our ghost pedaling issue. When installing the new crank, you want to make sure the pedals end up directly opposite each other. That keeps everything aligned the way it should be. On this side, the crank has a slight offset built into the design, so we don't need to worry too much about matching it perfectly here. But remember this for the other side, because that's where the alignment really matters when you thread the next pedal on. Before you reinstall the 8mm bolt, don't forget to place the chain back onto the chainring of the new crankset. It's really easy to overlook, but it saves you from having to pull everything apart again. Once the chain is sitting on the chainring, take a moment to line it up with the rear cassette. The easiest way to do this is to hold the crankset and spin it counterclockwise with your hands. As you rotate it, the chain will naturally settle into the correct position on the rear cartridge. When everything is aligned smoothly, you can go ahead and tighten the 8mm bolt to secure the crankset. I'm switching over to an 8mm socket on a ratchet because you're going to need that extra torque to really crank down the Allen screw. A regular Allen key just doesn't give you the leverage you need here. Take your time and apply steady pressure. This part is more important than most people realize. The whole point of tightening it down properly is to make sure the crankset sits perfectly even with the rear derailleur. That alignment is what allows the chain to spin smoothly without hopping around. If you finish the install, go for a ride, and notice the chain keeps jumping or skipping. That's often a sign that the crankset either isn't tight enough, or you may have cranked it down a little too much. Both can throw off the chain line, so finding that sweet spot is key. I'm going to use an impact driver out of pure laziness. But let me stress this. Do this at your own risk. An impact can easily over-tighten or damage the threads if you're not careful. A ratchet is the safer way to go, but I'll show you the method I'm using. Just make sure you understand the risks before you try it. When tightening the crankset, take your time and torque it down a little at a time. Keep checking the chain as you go. You want it to appear straight and aligned with the rear cassette before you lock everything in. Once everything looks good, you're ready for pedals. I decided to pick up a new set for this build, but you can absolutely reuse the pedals that came with the bike if you want to save a few dollars. If you look at the pedals, somewhere on them will be stamped L for left and R for right. This is obviously the right side, so we're going to use the right pedal. If you look at the threads, which I did a horrible job of keeping in frame, you can see that this pedal will screw to the right or clockwise. Once the right pedal is installed, it's time to move to the left side of the bike. First, remove the 8mm Allen bolt. Start by threading on the Park Tool crank removal tool, making sure it seats cleanly into the crank arm. Keep turning it in until it's fully engaged and sitting flush. Now tighten it down using a 7/8" wrench to make sure it's nice and secure. From here, you'll be ready to apply pressure. I'm going to use an impact with a 15mm socket to speed this up, but make sure you do this at your own risk. An impact can over-tighten or damage the threads if you're not careful, so use it only if you're confident. Just like last time, start by loosening that 15mm bolt first. Backing it off takes the pressure off the crank arm and lets everything release cleanly. Once that bolt is loose, the removal tool will back out much easier. From there, grab your 7/8" wrench and turn the tool slowly. You'll feel it free itself without much effort, and the whole assembly will come off smoothly, just the way it should. Make sure to align the pedal arm completely opposite of the other pedal arm before securing it with the 8mm Allen wrench. That alignment keeps everything spinning smoothly once you're riding. I recommend using a ratchet for better control, but I'm going to use an impact to speed things up. Just remember, use the impact at your own risk, since it can apply too much torque if you're not careful. Once it's tightened down, you're ready for the pedal. We are installing the left pedal this time, so the threading is the exact opposite as the right pedal threads. You will need to spin this counter clockwise or to the left. Now that we've got the new crank installed, it's time to take the bike out and see how it performs. We'll give it a quick ride, check the chain alignment, and make sure everything feels smoother than before. Let's see if this upgrade eliminates ghost pedaling. With the new 58-tooth sprocket installed, the first big question is it harder to start? Surprisingly, even with this massive chainring, taking off from a dead stop in Gear 3 is still incredibly easy. There's no struggle at all. I'm moving right away and quickly able to pick up speed. Let's shift the bike right up to Gear 7, bump it straight into Pedal Assist 5, and instantly you can feel the difference. That old spinning out feeling, completely gone. Now I'm actually connecting with the chain, cruising at 28 miles per hour in PAS 5, Gear 7, and there's zero ghost pedaling. I've still got pedal pressure, I'm contributing power, and the motor is responding. This is exactly what I was hoping for.
That 58-tooth crankset is an absolute game changer. Ghost pedaling, completely gone.
I can actually keep up with the motor all the way up to 28 miles per hour.
Honestly, the best part? It was surprisingly easy to install. Just a few basic tools and about 20 minutes of time.
I'm giving this 58-tooth crank upgrade a solid, undeniable 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
If you love this fix, smash that like button and share it with a riding buddy. And hit subscribe so you don't miss the next upgrade. Catch you later!